Assembly Bill 957 just passed the California State Judiciary Committee and now heads to the full Senate, where it's expected to pass along party lines and be sent to the governor's desk for his signature. This bill puts parents who don't affirm their children's gender transition in danger of child abuse charges and subject to having their children removed from the home and the termination of all parental rights. And this would apply to children as young as 7 years of age. AB 957 was written by Democrat Assemblywoman Lori Wilson and co-authored by Senator Scott Wiener. Apparently, Senator Wiener is not satisfied with just decriminalizing gay, non-forcible sodomy, oral copulation, and sexual penetration of an underage boy, as in Senate Bill 145, or his bill to remove the felony penalty for knowingly exposing another person to HIV, as in Senate Bill 239. In the following clip, the bill's author defends AB 957 using an example of a 7-year-old who announces their gender doesn't match their sex.
If you have a 7-year-old who's talking about having a potential to say, being able to articulate that they believe that they are not the same gender as they are biologically, then it should be affirmed, and through care, it should be determined. And that's what we did with our own child. And that would give the ability for a parent who wasn't sure to affirm and get their child the care that they need to make that, so they can begin to articulate that determination. But by saying and rejecting it in wholesale, then you're essentially rejecting your child. Our children should be affirmed. And this is saying that you have to include gender affirmation as a part of that.
As I mentioned, the California State Judiciary Committee held a hearing where hundreds of parents attended to oppose AB 957. It was a diverse group, too, including teachers, pastors, San Francisco Democrats, immigrants, gays, and a gender non-conforming mom, all speaking against the bill. None of that mattered, though, to the Democrats. They still voted to pass it. Erin Friday, an attorney, mother of a girl who previously identified as trans at age 10, and the leader of Our Duty, a parental support organization, cited several legal issues with AB 957.
There is no nuance in this bill. It matters not the age of the child, the absurdity of the identity, adopted comorbid mental health issues, or persistence. Family court judges will be compelled to favor the child who will affirm the child's delusion. Parents can easily game the system and use gender as retaliation against each other. What happens when one parent will socially affirm the child but will not agree to medicalize? Does the parent willing to do more transitioning prevail? AB 957 unambiguously states that the health, safety, and welfare of the child includes a parent's affirmation of the child's gender identity. If it passes, it will be child abuse if one does not affirm a child's gender identity. 88% of all gender-confused kids will return to their being comfortable in their sex bodies if they are not affirmed. Do you really want to penalize parents for their belief in science?
Abigail Martinez shared the heartbreaking story of losing her daughter to the cult of transgenderism.
My name is Abigail Martinez. It has been 3 years and 164 days since I lost my daughter, Jaylee. I miss her every single day. Let me tell you how she died. My daughter was murdered by a gender ideology. CPS took my daughter when she was 16 years old. It was held by her public school counselor and LGBTQ group rights and another trans-identified girl. My daughter was taken from her loving home because the state of California claimed I was abusive for not affirming her trans identity. I lost my daughter over a name and a pronouns. Even after I promised to call her a male name, it wasn't enough. My daughter was not a boy trapped in a girl's body. She had mental health issues. Against my consent, my daughter was given testosterone instead of therapy. The LGBTQ group used her to raise money for them. Look at the poor reject trans boy, they said. Why are there so many transgender in foster care? Because this state take them from their families, tell them to run, then steal them. Parents are given one option to treat their distressed child, affirm, drug, and remove their healthy body part, or else lose your child. The abuse claim against me was finally dropped, but it was too late. The damage was done. By then, my daughter was in a horrible mental and physical pain. My daughter knelt down in front of a train. She was murdered by gender ideology. I beg you, stop pushing gender ideology. I don't want any parent to feel what I feel every day. Affirmation is not good for the health, safety, and welfare of any child.
Then Scott Wilk, who's the lone Republican on the California Senate Judiciary Committee, had this to say.
I'm now in year 11 in the state legislature, and all the time we're proposing policies to protect children. After 11 years, I've come to a conclusion that we need to start protecting parents. That's just not happening. I've been here and witnessed a full frontal assault on charter schools, taking away parents' choice and how their children are going to be educated, to the detriment particularly of children of color. In recent years, we have put government bureaucrats between parents, children, and doctors when it comes to medical care. And now we have this, where if a parent does not support the ideology of the government, they're going to be taken away from the home. In the past, when we've had these discussions and I've seen parental rights atrophied, I've encouraged people to keep fighting. I've changed my mind on that. If you love your children, you need to flee California. You need to flee. We are moving towards the pathway of the Handmaid's Tale. California is becoming the new Gilead, and it just breaks my heart. I'm born and raised in this state. I love this state. I'm not going to stay in this state because it's just too oppressive, and I believe in freedom, and so I'm going to move to America when I leave the legislature.
Democrats insist this bill isn't an attack on parents or parental rights. They insist it's about protecting children. From what? Their own parents who love them and only want to protect them from predators? Throughout history, tyrants have always used children to reinforce the foundation of their tyranny. As Vladimir Lenin said, "Give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed that I have sown will never be uprooted." When you've had enough, when you're ready to go, we're here to help. We are redstatego.com.